Vote.
Okay, and then I'm gonna.
We are live.
Yeah, we're live.
Hi guys.
I didn't realize we were live.
No.
Yeah, real quick because whatever.
How's
Listen,
everybody doing?
I'm gonna share this to the group. Let me see how I can do that.
Come one, come all.
Right.
Come as many as possible.
All right. Okay, so I really want to talk about this debate because I have so many issues with some of the stances that a certain person took tonight. But I also was really impressed by the opponent.
Yeah, he was really good. I wasn't expecting to be as good as he was. He was fantastic.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's start with that. Like, why do you think he was so good tonight?
I guess he's actually just a really good debater. I mean, I'm surprised he isn't bigger than he is. I think he did better than Destiny did. Nobody tell Destiny.
Right,
why do you think he was better than Destiny? I'm just curious.
I don't know. He was just really good. I was very, very impressed with I was very impressed.
I'll be honest. I'm sorry, I'm typing something. I'll be honest. I was surprised that I was actually pleasantly surprised because, you know, the conversation we had, I was like, you know, if someone's going to talk about LGBTQ issues, they need to they need to have some sort of sensitivity to it and not just be talking from a heterosexual standpoint. And I know
I'm not sure if he's heterosexual or if he is LGBTQ.
I'm not either, but I don't want to assume one way or another now. But it was really nice to hear like a lot of the points that I was yelling at the screen, like say this. He then would say. My biggest issue with tonight's debate was that a certain debater kept drawing the conversation back to sex, as if sex was the only issue. Okay,
the only aspect of being LGBTQI.
And it's like that shows that your outside mentality, like the stigma he's talking about, is the fact that you can only talk about gay sex as a negative. That's the point when he's talking about a stigma. It's like, well, there's all these other things too. So,
well, maybe he tried it and didn't like it, or maybe he tried it and liked it too much. I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know.
I think it was important to say this though, like with the. To me, when Andrew lost me was when earlier in the debate, what's his name? Mouthy.
Mm-hmm.
He asked him to cite a source or something, and dude was like, "I'm gonna cite a source right now," and he started going through and he's like, "I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna put it in the chat." It never popped up in the chat. The source he did and I was like, "So you're really just saying a bunch of like your personal feelings."
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, while I was watching it, I fact checked some stuff. He's wrong about STD rates. I looked it up. They said, like, I think gonorrhea and herpes are more prevalent amongst, not herpes, gonorrhea and syphilis are more prevalent amongst gay men. But like herpes, and there were like 2 or 3 other ones are more prevalent amongst straight. And I was like, so what it's saying is it depends on the disease, which then negates his entire argument about promiscuity being the cause of STDs. Because if that was the case, we would lead in every one of them, not just 2 out of the 5 that they listed. I just thought it was dope. I mean, I was just very impressed with with young man. I was very
me too. Me too.
It does seem that the debate, it seems like it kind of devolved into, well, you're going to get AIDS, so we have to squash that portion of the community because you're going to get AIDS otherwise. But statistically, they found, you know, there's a pill for that now. So, I mean...
There's a pill for AIDS?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yes. They've had
Listen, at this point, if you have health insurance and you're diagnosed with AIDS, there's a pill, there's 2 pills.
Yeah,
there's multiple pills. There's
a preventative one?
Yes. That if you take this pill every day, you are 99.9%
shut up
prevented from getting AIDS. 99.9%. That's why when he was talking,
it was like it was a straw man argument.
That's why when he was talking, I was so mad, Brittany, because I was like, I want to be on this panel, because I would tell him, well, you know, at this point, most gay men, if not all, I'm not gonna say all, but
Dude,
a lot
I've been
of gay
begging
men,
you to debate him. You can debate him. You know that.
Listen, the reason I want to debate Andrew is because I'm gonna be rude as fuck. Like, period, Brittany. Like, I'm gonna be rude as a motherfucker. Like, I'm just gonna be a dick. I'm not gonna debate him. I'm literally gonna troll him for an hour and a half. I'm literally gonna be. But anyway, so it's like, okay, there's these. So basically, there's PrEP, which is PrEP is I guess it's an acronym, not really, but it stands for pre-exposure prophylactic. So basically, you take a lot. People will take it every day, and it'll decrease by 99.9% the chances of you contracting HIV. But even if you do contract HIV, a lot of people, if you follow your meds and your doctor's orders and you're healthy, you become undetectable. Undetectable is where you can't even pass the disease, meaning when they check your blood, they can't find your antibodies or anything like that, right? So you can't, it's even that much harder for you to pass the disease. So when he's talking about HIV and STDs, all it shows was his lack of knowledge. Like, you're talking totally from a standpoint of, oh, okay, Destiny's here. We're bringing her in.
Okay.
Hey, Destiny.
Hi, Destiny. Unblock me.
Like, you're talking happiness. I hear an echo. I hear an echo, Destiny.
Yeah, something's up with your mic. It does it like a lot on your.
Okay, Destiny.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
So listen, boo. Go to the cam mic settings. I'm gonna mute you for a second while you do this stuff.
Yeah, and I would just mute yourself when you don't talk. If
go to the cam. Yeah, if this doesn't work, do that. Yeah. Go to the cam mic settings. Go to audio, and then once you go to audio, there's two boxes. Unclick the top one. Oh.
That was good. Well, she's probably fixing it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So okay. So anyway, and that's the thing about it. Like, when he was talking, it's just like, what it came off as to me was like, okay, this dude just really like hates gay people for whatever reason, because all of the statistics that he's bringing up, not only are they wrong, and what's bad about it, Brittany, when I tell you a quick Google search, like a quick one, like not even just an extensive one. I searched Google for like 5 seconds, and I was like, everything he says is wrong. A quick Google, which is my frustration with people on the left. Sorry, the right. A lot of times they make these arguments based off of emotion or sensationalism or preconceived notions, and then they get into this place where they start to say these things that are not based in fact. And he wants to paint this picture that because gay men are so promiscuous, they're causing their own suffering, as if promiscuity is the biggest issue in the gay community. Gay people are more afraid of being like beaten to death than they are of like contracting syphilis. Straight people don't have that fear. Straight people are probably more afraid of contracting syphilis because they don't have to worry about being beaten just for being straight.
Mm-hmm. And I think that also messes with the argument with super straights. It's too similar to the, well, why is there a white history?
Let's check her mic. Mic check.
Say hello.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted on your end, Destiny. No, nothing.
Nailing it.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
But going back to the point of the whole super straight thing is it's eerily familiar with the whole, well, why can't there be White History Month? The whole purpose of a marginalized group showing pride or showing information about their group is because they're a marginalized group.
I'm sorry, Mo. Someone in the comments is asking for the original debate. Can you put the Brittany? Can you put the link in the private chat, and then I'll put the link up on the screen? Yeah. It's Politically Provoked, which is not only a Facebook group, it is also a really dope ass YouTube channel.
It is.
We need to figure out some way, because I want to do this all the time after they debates. Because after they debates, I be hyped. You know what I'm saying? I be like, I want to talk to somebody, like, because I'm a talker. I got to talk to somebody, and I'm so glad that we're here doing this, like, because we have to do this.
Right. So, it's like the moment, like, girl, did you hear that?
Right. Right.
But it's.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Yes.
It sounds better, I think.
And
yeah.
there's no echo.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh.
Yes, we did
Okay.
it. We did
Continue,
it, Joe.
Mo.
We did it. I'm sorry. Okay, so anyway, so real quick, I mean, it's an oddly familiar argument, but when you're in a position where you're in the majority, regular mainstream culture is inherently straight or heterosexual. So why call yourself a super straight? It's to me, it's giving a dog whistle to that segment of the community that doesn't agree with people that are LGBT.
Is the super straight thing just specifically for trans people, though? Is that what it is?
Super straight only is its sexuality built off of denying trans people and denying attraction to trans people. It's like,
this is like within the last month it was created or something, right?
And that's my thing about it. When you develop a sexuality based off of who you're not attracted to, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because like gay people, it's not about them not being attracted to women. Because a lot of gay people, like, this is one thing you have to understand. Like, especially in the comments tonight, sexuality is a spectrum. Meaning, like, yes, I can absolutely be gay today and bi tomorrow and straight later, and that doesn't mean anything wrong or bad. What that means is that these things shift. It's not a one or another. Like, and that's not to say, to be clear, that's not to say that any of this is a choice. Because if I could choose my sexuality, I know exactly what I would only get horny when I wanted to, which is never the case when you're. I can't speak. I'm going to speak for a man. I can never choose when I'm horny. It's either I'm horny.
Men are going to always be more horny than women in general.
But like, if it was a choice, I could choose when I was horny. I could choose who I was attracted to. I could choose what I was attracted to, and all that stuff. But that's just not how it works. Like, we respond. That's just the nature of it. It's not a choice. So a lot of his arguments depended on sexuality being a choice. I'm sorry, sexual orientation being a choice, which. Because I will say this, I don't get the vibe that Mouthy was LGBTQ. I actually get the vibe that he was straight. Yeah. The reason I get that vibe is because when Andrew kept bringing up arguments that suggested that sexuality was a choice, if he was gay, meaning Mouthy, then Mouthy would have addressed that. But because he's straight, he wouldn't know to say, well, sexuality is not a choice. He kind of
did without doing it. But I think the greater point is, why would someone put themselves through all this ridicule?
That was one of the best questions, I think. Like, why would you choose it if it was a choice? Who on earth would actually decide to go through that and with all the fucking shit that you have to deal with? Why would you choose it if it was a choice?
Exactly.
Right. And then he keeps talking about being gay as like, my dog just farted and it's a bad one. I'm so sorry. It's a really bad, and I was talking when he did it, so it kind of. So he ate it a little bit. I want to kick his ass right now. Oh my god! Get out of here! Go! Hey, Turbo, move! Turbo, go!
Your dog named Turbo.
Oh my god! He let one rip too. Anyway, I was gonna try to like fight through it, but it lingers too. It lingers. But essentially, like when he's talking about this thing being a choice, it's like, okay, if it was a choice. Now, I heard a really, really interesting theory. I heard a theory that says if straight people claim that heterosexuality is a choice, what they're saying is that they themselves are attracted to both genders and they chose to be heterosexual.
Yeah. What I think it was it might have been John Stewart. He's like, when did you choose? At what age did you choose to be straight?
Right. Like, and if you chose to be straight, that means you denied your you denied your homosexuality. That means you are in fact attracted to both genders, and you chose which one to engage with.
I mean, nobody's like ever thought like, oh, I am not choosing to be. I just am straight. Like, nobody's choosing to be. You just are.
Right. And then he would use a lot of what they call them trigger words, deviant behavior. That's why gay people choose to be straight. Gay people choose to be straight because it's deviant behavior. Let me tell you, I'm the squarest square on the planet. Mm-hmm. I tie my shoes. Every day.
Nah, you wear Velcro.
Period. No, I tie my shoes. I tie my shoes. I tuck my shirt. If it's a t-shirt, I tuck it in. You have to have a belt. I freaking, you know what I'm saying? I put ketchup in a little blob. I don't spray it over my fries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am square. And you're telling me that it's deviant behavior that makes me want to be like, No. If there's anything growing up as a black gay Southern boy, all I wanted was to be normal. What are you talking about? Like,
And
if I could
including
have if I could have chose when I was like 8 to like not be interested in dudes, I definitely would have chose that shit.
That's what Pete Buttigieg would say. He's like, if there was a pill that you can give me that would make me straight, I would have taken it, until he met Chasten, obviously. But it's just sad that like people have to think that way, and it's clearly just an effect that society. I don't think they would feel that way if society was more accepting. They wouldn't think, okay, I need to feel like that, but it's because you're being rejected by society. It makes you want that.
Absolutely. And I think that's what sorry, go ahead.
No, if you notice the comment that someone asked, did Andrew trot out Leviticus, which I believe he did. The actual verse is from Leviticus 18:22, but the irony, well, not the irony, the issue with that particular verse is that it says, "Man should not lie with mankind." Well, it's a mistranslation. The actual translation is "Man should not lie with boy kind."
No, with young boys. Yes.
Yes, boy kind, meaning that the issue was pedophilia, not homosexuality. Homosexuality wasn't a term until the 18th century or 19th century, where they were trying to basically give it a clinical name in order to normalize it within society. So I hate when people put up those verses when clearly they just got it from what the black community like to call Big Mama Church.
Are you religious now?
I'm actually a licensed minister.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, I'm licensed, but basically all that means is that I choose to serve the people and I study to show myself approved.
Can you marry people?
No, that's ordained, and depending on your denomination, some denominations ordain ministers, some don't. I was a part of one that didn't, which that's what it is. And I think there was a reference about sodomy, which the group term came from Sodom and Gomorrah. If you look at Ezekiel 16:48,
give them.
It said that Sister Sodom had twice half as many sins as Israel, but it was their lack of hospitality, not sex, is what put them under. So, because back in those days, when a stranger comes to your town, you're supposed to be very hospitable to them. You're supposed to make sure that they have a roof over their head, food to eat while they're staying in your town. Well, Sodom was smelling themselves and was like, you know what? We're going to teach you a lesson, and so you can tell everybody, don't come back to Sodom. So, I mean, even in the New Testament, Jesus never made any reference to homosexuality. But what he did say, as the great, what people like to call the Great Commission, the two greatest commandments is to love the Lord with all thy heart and to love thy neighbor as you love yourself.
And that's the problem that a lot of people have. And I don't know Andrew's religious affiliations, but I will say this. A lot of his rhetoric, it is connected to that ideology that men are superior, white people are superior, straight people are superior. And it lends itself to the rhetoric of Christian, like, I'm going to say negative Christian rhetoric. Let's say that. Let's say specifically negative. Because it's this idea that, like, gays are bad because they're deviant and they're disease-ridden. So before gay people are the only people with STDs. And the way he said tonight was like, HIV is only passed on to straight people because of bisexual people. You really think that, bro?
I have a question.
You really think that? Like, actually, there's so much research that negates that. Like, when he said it, that's the difference between me. This is why I can't debate him. That's the difference between me and the young man who was doing it tonight. Because I will tell you this: he had a nerve. Like he was calm,
phenomenal.
He never once got out of his character.
It was. I was
never raised his.
Yeah, seriously, I was very impressed with his demeanor and everything. Yeah.
And Brittany, you know that could not have been me. You keep asking me to debate.
I can't do that.
I don't want to debate. The reason I don't want to debate is because I would have been like, I would have been all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because the dude, but Mount the Infidel, he was like well composed,
cool, calm, and collected.
And whenever
Definitely
Andrew
roll
would
with
say
the
some
punches.
crazy stuff, he would just sit there and listen. Okay, I'm gonna let you say this dumbass shit you're saying, and then as soon as you're done, then I'm gonna say what and he would go, okay, so a few things.
Yeah, it was so brilliant. I mean, it was great. I don't know how he does that. Like, and he's young. He looks real young, but I mean,
he looks like he's like 12.
He could be in like the Destiny levels. Like, I mean, he's like.
I hope so. I hope he gets up there.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like he could. I mean, he's really, really good at it. Really
well, the thing about it is,
in the debate, he's not. Like a lot of people have tried, and they struggle with him, and he handled him like a freaking champ. So I mean, it was very good.
And I think that the cool thing about it was when he was citing his sources, I could tell, and this is an assumption, and I'm not going to lie that it's not, but I could tell that he was looking at something when he was citing those sources, which meant he had studied. He had those sources up. He didn't have to do that thing Andrew did when he was like, I'm going to find my sources. I'm going to put it up. Like, bruh, y'all can go back. It's in the earlier parts, like the first 30, 45 minutes of the debate. He asked Andrew for a source for something, and Andrew does a whole performance. And I have a whole degree in theater. I can tell a performance when I see one, okay? He did a whole performance where he said, all right, he started hitting the keyboard. And then once he hit the keyboard enough to make it look like, then he said, I'm going to put it in the chat. But why don't you go ahead with your point? And then I'll put it in the chat, right? That's a diversion. Because guess what never got shown in the chat? The link to that damn source. Never. It never came. He never. But not Destiny, but Mouthy Infidel, he had his sources ready. If we asked him to provide a link, it would have been in the chat instantaneously. And you could tell because he was literally, you could look at his face and go, okay, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Bruh, he was prepared. Andrew was not ready. Andrew thought he was going to be faced with another troll. Andrew was using troll tactics because he thought he was going to encounter another troll. And if he was encountering another troll, Andrew would have won that debate. However,
I think Andrew thought he was going to be a lot weaker than he was. Like, because if you look at him, you're kind of thinking maybe he might be a little timid. He might be a little, but his looks are very deceiving because he freaking.
Don't
flex on me because I'm a skinny young man. Don't flex.
Please be careful of the quiet ones. The quiet looking ones. It definitely packs a punch. I think the whole just worrying about what people do in their bedrooms is just kind of weird to me. Like, why are you so concerned about it? As long as it's dealing with consenting adults, I will not yuck your yum. Do you?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, you could easily troll, be a left troll and be like, oh.
You're not hurting anybody else, then why? I don't think anybody should care about what somebody's doing. Like, even if you're hurting yourself, I mean, you kind of have the, I feel like you have the right to do what you want to do. Like, but once you start hurting other people, then that's when others just step in.
That's where the issue comes into play.
But I do think it's interesting the point, because I never considered, like, even as a member of the LGBTQ community, when he was talking, and I mean Infidel, when he was talking about the idea that gay people are at risk for more STDs and more sexually transmitted diseases and stuff, I literally just said the same thing twice. Anyway, that is there because of a lack of education and access. Somebody in the comments was like, how are y'all allowed less access? And it's like, well, straight people generally, and I say generally loosely, but generally don't have to go buy lube. Like, unless you have the DAP, which is fine if you got a DAP.
What's a DAP?
The opposite of a wife.
Oh, got it. Never mind.
Right. So, like, and that's okay. But no, I'm not even trying to make fun of those people because that's the actual thing. But generally, if a man is buying lube, he's gay, right? So, and everybody who's a man knows that. Whether you're gay or not, you know that, like, you only need lube to engage in gay sex generally. Especially if you're young.
Wait, no, that's not true.
Wait, y'all been using lube?
Yeah.
I mean, there's KY for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, well then I stand goddamn corrected. Wait, listen, y'all know I'm like I'm bi, but I'm not bi by experience. Okay,
Oh wow.
so let's wait. So let's have that conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I thought y'all had natural lubricants.
But sometimes you can't get the girl for going.
And sometimes you may have a partner that can't get the girl going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you
wait.
can't
So when they be talking about a wetness, the wetness means
that means you're getting the girl hot. But if sometimes you can't get a girl hot on your own, you might need some backup.
I thought it was just like a natural response to stimulation. Y'all are making me feel like
it is, but
y'all are making me think it's a natural response to mental stimulation than physical stimulation.
It can be both, actually.
No, but I'm saying, like, you know how sometimes just like when I say physical stimulation, literally just by engaging with the genitalia, like sometimes with dudes, it's like you just rub across the dick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even if they're not into you. Going by. But what you're saying to me is that the woman has to be like really
you have to
into
turn on.
Right, because you have to remember the majority of that, that organ is internal.
Yeah.
Yours is external. So of course you can go walk outside and get a flow in the wind, and it can get you, excited.
Let me tell you, you know how many times that I had to get up to give a presentation in class, and just because I was like, bruh, you into Mississippi? What? It's like, what is going on? Okay, then I stand corrected. I stand totally corrected. But I do think it's an interesting thing to think about, because one of the points I brought up was that, like, gay, I never got a birds and the bees speech. Who would I get it from?
Yeah.
Who would I get it? What I'm saying is, I'm the first person in my family that's out. Okay. The first. Mm. So who was going to sit me down and tell me about gay sex? Even if someone in my family decided I'm going to be totally supportive of him and educate him, how the fuck would they know what to tell me other than maybe reading some books? But that would be helpful. But then still, they're not going to be able to tell me the same stuff that someone who knows. But it's like, as a straight person, that is a rite of passage. When are you going to have the birds and the bees chat with your son or daughter? And that is a part of what he was saying. The stigma is what should really happen is when we sit our children down, we say, okay, sex. Mm-hmm. Here's sex. Not straight sex or gay sex. Just here's sex. Like, if you're straight, this is what it's going to be like. If you're gay, this is what's going to... But that's not what we do, because the stigma is to only teach about straight sex.
So I have a question, because all three of you guys are in the LGBTQ community, right? So yes. At what age was it for you guys that you realized that?
3.5?
I'm a little older, older generation. So I was 9. I was watching Janet Jackson. She was doing... this was off of the Control album, and she had a video for Nasty Boys, which, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. But even at 9, I knew that I would have to, I'd recognize that I better start looking at boys the way I look at girls, because otherwise I think I'm weird. At 9, I recognized that because of the society that we're in. Again, I don't see why we can't just say to people, you know what? I'm not going to yuck your yum, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and they're over the age of 18 or they're grown. Do you, boo? Do you?
Yeah. It was probably 10, 12. You see some girls on TV or whatever the gender, and it's like, oh, that's kind of nice.
For me, it was more like, okay, it was very early. I'm not even gonna lie, it was very early. And this is the thing that might be weird for some people. I knew I was attracted to dudes before I knew it wasn't cool to be attracted to dudes. Mm-hmm. I knew I was attracted to dudes before I really... And that's the thing about it. When we talk about, like... Oh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We talk about this idea of sexuality being pushed on children. Children are humans, right? Mm-hmm. Their sexuality actually starts extremely early because they're human, not because we're pushing it on them. Because
not 3.
well, I'll be honest. The first time I was 5 years old. Let me be honest. I was 5 years old when my mother and her mother found me and her in bed together, doing all kind of crazy shit.
Wait, what? I need you to say that
my
again.
next door neighbor and I were playing doctor, and doctor went where it goes. And well, I think we were just making out at the most, but maybe there was some clothes removed and some grinding. My point to say that all
Don't
that
stop, keep going.
Destiny left. She said, I can't do this. My point to say all that is that I was very young, and that was an impulse for me to want to kiss her and for her to want to kiss me. And this was like kindergarten time, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I think I had my first kiss at like, I was real young. I was like,
right. My point is, I'm not saying that it's okay for adults to engage in. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is those instincts and those thoughts, they occur devoid of being exposed to accepting gay people. There's a difference between allowing another person to live their truth and promoting a sexuality. Right. And he was very crafty in the way he would say his words, because what he kept saying is promote homosexuality. He was specific in saying promote, because the dog whistle of that statement
instead of educate.
Instead of saying accept, right? Instead of saying allow homosexuality, he said promote. Mm-hmm. When you promote something, you want someone to buy it.
Right.
So he was back to those PSAs that used to have like in the 50s and 60s about the older man trying to go after the young guy. They did have those right along with the Reefer Madness type of movies. But you know, to say your point, talking about we don't want to sexualize our kids. Heterosexual people do it all the time. They say, oh, you got a little boyfriend? Mind you, they're 3. What? You got a little girlfriend? Oh,
and that's the thing about it.
If you're a baby, he's gonna be a lady killer. Da, 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 da. I mean,
and that's the thing about it. We will tell little boys and girls, like, because me and Mo are cool and we always hang out and we both have children and one happens to be one gender and the other is another gender.
You guys both have children?
No, we don't.
God, no.
I'm being totally hypothetical. My point is that's what straight people do. They would be like, okay, since me and Mo are friends and we have children of opposite genders, every time we hang out, despite how our children feel, we'd be like, don't you want to talk to your little boyfriend? That's sexualizing a child. Like, because at the end of the day, no, they want to goddamn play with Play-Doh and they want to do all they don't care. Like, we've told them that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. We've told them that. And so when they say homosexuals or LGBTQ people are pushing an agenda to sexualize anybody, the only reason that comes across is because straight people have been doing that. And they know it. Because at the end of the day, I told somebody in the chat today, I was like, straight people have been pushing sexuality forever. And if you feel like just the existence of gay people and their acceptance would mean more people would be gay, everybody would be straight. Because as far as I know, even Mickey and Minnie Mouse, like, we've been seeing straight. It's been thrown down our throats, yet still gay people exist. Trans people exist, which means sexuality is not dependent on what you're seeing. If that was the case, everybody would be straight.
No, you can't forget. I mean, there's a difference between, I think, education and people think that, educating is somehow grooming somebody, and it's ridiculous, because you can't groom somebody to be gay. You just can't do that. Like, you're gonna be either gay or you're not gonna be gay. But educating somebody is gonna make them more tolerant, and so you should be educating people on these things.
I kind of want to respond to this comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mo.
Well, no, I was going to say, I think there was a commenter in the chat that was very misconcerning. I think her name was homeschooled mom or something like that.
That's Andrew's wife.
That's the missus. That's Mama Fashion.
I didn't know, but
we know what that is.
I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know. And this is not anything to bash anybody, but I found her commentary very ignorant. And I do fear that
both grab the drink.
and I feel that if she's homeschooling her children, I really feel sorry for them, because they're definitely not getting.
There's ramen here.
Hey, and I will not get your yum as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Like, you go, girl. So I mean, because you're basically creating very sheltered children, and they're going to do either one of two things. They're going to follow in your footsteps, or they're going to go completely opposite of what you're spewing.
And what sucks is like, and I'm not trying, and I hate having to say this rhetoric because it sounds like I'm wishing a sexuality on a child, but this is my thing about it. It terrifies me, the idea that one of his children could turn out to be LGBT. It terrifies me because there's nothing he can do about it other than hate his child and teach his child to hate himself. And as a person, I don't have children. I don't have children, but as a person who has family members and who has had family members unknowingly teach me to hate myself for some shit that I couldn't control, I know what that's like. So, and it is just so sad because I would like to think that they are decent parents, meaning that they love their children. And I would like to think that they would never want to cause their children to hate themselves, but in their mind, the best thing for their children is if they hated anything that wasn't normal, right? But what is normal is not a thing. It's made up. It's bullshit. It doesn't exist. It's normal is literally what society taught. Like he talks about this magic wand process. Like if there was a magic wand and everybody was straight, society would be so much better. If there was a magic wand and everybody was gay, society would be much better too, because there would be no conflict amongst gender. And people could say, oh, well, what about reproduction? Plenty of gay people. First of all, you don't have to have sex to have a baby. Period. So if society was gay, if society was all gay, if everybody was gay and women only enjoyed sex with women and men only enjoyed sex with men, do you not think that we would be like, have what are the clinics called? Sperm, like we would have stuff set up.
Have you seen the Bo Burnham video? I think its name is Bo Burnham.
I don't know what it is.
It does these like little music things. It says from. Sorry, I interrupted you. It's from the perspective of God. From the perspective of God, and he's like, I'll have to show it to you because I'm gonna freaking botch it, I'm sure. But he does this. It's like a little satire thing, and he does. Yeah, I sent gays to gays to fix overpopulation. Boy, did that go well! Like, or something else.
Well, here's the thing about it. And this is another thing I want to talk about to Andrew. I really wanted to say to him, so if gay was a choice that deviants made, why do penguins do gay shit and dolphins? And literally, research shows that, like, I don't know the percentage, but a large percentage of the animal kingdom, giraffes, they said most giraffe sex is gay sex.
Oh my God, really?
Yes. That's the crazy thing is, so you're asking me to understand, like, if we want to do it because we're deviant, why do animals do it? Why is there such a high population of gay sex happening in the animal kingdom? Like, explain to me, because it's deviant. Like, because deviance implies a certain brain, a certain cognitive awareness, right?
That is unnatural.
Right. This is bad, so I want to do it. That's what deviant says. So giraffes are out there going, man, this tree tastes so motherfucking good that I just want to fuck her ass. And I just feel like that doesn't make any sense. There's so much evidence that proves all of that stuff he was saying wasn't backed up in any fact. That's why I love Infidel when he was just like, you're just wrong. That was my favorite one.
Right. What's the point of debating something when it's just incorrect? I get it.
He was literally just like, you're just wrong. So, and then he would leave it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I mean, what's the point? Right. I will say about if it was a gay society, everything would be hunky dory. I have to disagree just a smidge, because we've had this conversation before, Deria. You know, with guys, a lot of gay men can be misogynistic. And in some cases, a little bit more misogynistic than their heterosexual
and racist. Let's be clear.
Yes, that's true. Well, we were just strictly talking about about the sexes here. So
touche.
Right. So with my personal theory is due to the fact that with heterosexual men, yes, they're inherently misogynistic, but they're going to temper it a little bit at the very least, because at the end of the day, they still want a woman. With gay men, they don't have that preconceived notion of wanting to be with a woman, so it just comes all the way out. So I think he would still have, societal issues with iniquities with gender, but I do think that if we continue to do this divide, this is what's going to prevent us from getting anything done on because people just don't want to mind their own business.
Right.
If you don't like gay sex, then don't partake in it. Okay,
Exactly.
in your bedroom.
Exactly.
Just keep doing missionary and no business.
Bye, Robert. Bye, Robert. Thanks for hanging out with us. I think that's the thing about it. It's like, okay, so
Time for work.
I know time zones. I don't even question it, bro. I just keep it moving.
He might be a working man.
I think it's important to understand that. Damn it, I forgot it.
I'm sorry.
I'm old. You know I'm old.
I do that same thing. I lose my train of thought as some of you.
What was your last comment, Mo?
About missionary.
Before that, though, yes, gay sex. I think it's important to understand this when we're talking about what rights people should have, right? I think we should go first on the harm none thing, right? Okay, so then when you go to there, a lot of people will say, okay, but accepting sexuality that are not normal are harming our children. Are they? Well, then you would go, Andrew. I'm thinking of Andrew, right? Andrew would say, yes, it's harming them because gay people are more at risk for STDs. No, they're not. There's evidence that proves that they're not. Straight people get plenty of goddamn STDs, and plenty, and there's certain STDs that they're more likely to have than others, and vice versa for gay people. So it just depends on the goddamn day and the practice and the person.
There's some gay lesbian women. Come on.
Well, it's like this. I know some gay dudes, and I'm not gonna flex. I know some gay dudes who only been with their husband. Only. And I know some straight people who have only been with their husbands. And I know some straight people who get yes. And I know some straight people who get their face planted in a pillow by a different motherfucker every week. Okay? Every day. And I know some gay people the same. Now, if you're going to say it happens more with gay people, but my point is this. You're asking about sexual activity. If you want to talk about what's a choice, okay, having sex is a choice. Engaging in sex is a choice. That is not a punishable choice, in my opinion. And if it is, it's a punishable choice by the divine. It's not for us to punish. We're not punishing sex, the act of sex. What you're saying is that encouraging people as adults to live how they want is somehow endangering children. You're a fucking parent. You decided to have a child. So it is your responsibility to protect that child from the ills of the world. Doesn't mean that because you decided to have a child, you get to deny that the ills exist. And I'm not saying that gay sex isn't ill. What I'm saying is, if you want to claim these things as problems, you don't get to eradicate them. Because guess what? The world's going to keep turning. And no, we're not going to eradicate the problems. Because even if we did live in a utopic society, people would find something to bitch about. They would find something to be a problem. So teach your children, not that sex is bad. You teach your children how to have safe sex. You teach your children how to be in charge of their sexuality so another person doesn't manipulate them into doing something they don't want to do. You don't tell them the things you're feeling are wrong, because then they're going to feel hateful about something that they can't control, because every single individual has sexual urges. And most of us, not most, but a lot of us grow up feeling guilty about them. Even straight people.
Yeah. I'm glad you said most, because there is a population of asexual people, so they don't necessarily have.
That's the part. I'm like, there's a lot of gay people that are asexual,
right? And also,
asexual for like 5 years.
Well, but
asexual means not horny, right?
Well, not having those sexual urges towards someone, that they just fall in love with them for their for emotional reasons, not necessarily sexual, but attractiveness. Now, I think also the no one brought up, which I found was interesting, is that the fastest growing population for STTs are senior citizens.
What?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Which is why, Brittany, you know who I want to debate, Andrew, and just end his whole debating life? This person right here.
No,
Right here.
because I would be
Would
I would
literally
be just as bad as
he would
him.
never show his face again.
I would be just
Okay?
as bad as you. I would revert to being a troll, and it would be a
That's
problem.
right. Sometimes we
But-
would just like that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so and the reason that they've theorized why this happens is that you have, grandma and grandpa and Uncle Charles, grandpa done passed away, and grandma by herself, and even though she's 65, 70, grandma needs love too.
65, 70 is not that old, by the way.
It's not.
Well,
Let's be
it's not,
clear.
but 7. Well, the average, life expectancy is what, 75 now, 76. It's actually hard to go.
I don't know what the
it's hard to go
expectancy is,
back.
Without
but I will
healthcare, it
say.
is.
Yeah. Well, and actually, in some populations, it's as young as 35. With transgender women, the average life expectancy is 35 years old. So that's why it's such a alarm when people say, "Hey, don't talk about transgender people. Don't make these type of comments," because we have a society where people feel that emboldened to end their life because they don't feel they're human.
That's the part, and that's why when I was hearing everything he was saying, it's always like, oh, that's a small percentage. Let me ask you a question, Andrew. Because a person exists within a small percentage of whatever category, does that mean that they're also no longer human? Or let's not even say human, alive? Does that mean that they're no longer a being? And he's one of those people that clearly strikes me as like, if you're not a like human, white, Christian, rich man, you don't count. Meaning he doesn't feel like animals are important. He doesn't value the life. Like, it's like, I'm pro-life, but I'm gonna eat all this meat. I eat meat. I'm really like I eat meat, but I'm at the point where right now I really don't want to eat meat. Not because it doesn't taste delicious, but because I understand the moral implications behind.
I've seen a lot of bad videos.
Not even the bad videos, because it wasn't the bad videos for me. It was the aspect of like, I'm ending, like, and I feel like if you're gonna end something's life for sustenance, that's the best reason to end a life. However, because the world, the universe, the earth provides us with so many other ways to be sustained, we don't really need to kill animals to live. We don't.
I hate to break it to you, but there's studies that have shown that plants are alive.
They are. They are.
When
They
you-
are.
So you're going to be killing
Fuck or
somebody
kill
in order to survive.
So I'm just look, God, can't you just make it to where we just don't die? Can we be immortal?
Have you
Well-
seen the like where you can grow meat from like a cow, like a biopsy, and they're growing it?
And
Yeah.
it would be so much better if we could
Yeah.
just like if we didn't have to eat.
But well,
No, for real,
people-
like if we just didn't have to fucking eat.
Let's quit
but,
eating.
but you know what's weird?
Just
A lot of people find that weird about that new meat, where they're just basically take a splice of cells and growing meat.
Probably crazy.
That's what they do with bananas.
No.
Bananas they're basically for one particular stock, and they just regrow that particular stock, because the bananas that you eat, you know how it doesn't have any seeds and it's very soft and all that. That's something that's cross-pollinated. That's not something that normally exists in the wild. Most bananas have plenty of seeds in it and is barely edible. But they were able to cross-pollination and take that down. And it's basically, because when you put a banana in the ground, it basically grows more bananas. So
Do they come on trees?
it
Bananas
does.
and trees. I'll be right back, y'all.
Right. But if you take a piece of it and put that in the ground, because they're basically running it off the same, set of like bananas.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, regardless if it's Chiquita, whatever brand, it's basically coming from the same line of bananas from like decades ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat red meat like occasionally, but I have limited my red meat intake quite a bit. It is because of some of these like horrible videos you see. But I feel like when you see like a turkey, you hear about a turkey, like I don't know, they like, don't they just like cut their head off and like that's it or something to kill them? Like it's a quick one.
I don't want to disappoint you in that. I'm just not going to go over it because
Run around with their head cut off or something.
it's disappointed. Because in actuality, like those type of fowls, especially chickens, they eat anything and everything.
Yep.
My mother calls them the barnyard pimp because they just they'll eat anything and everything. So you don't even really want to know about the chicken.
Mhm.
Um, but with what's it called? What's it called? Oh, sorry, I lost my point. I'm getting old too. Sorry.
Okay, when you remember, just come back. I think it's
Of course.
important. The reason I brought up the animals was to say a lot of his arguments tonight hinged on the fact that because a person chooses or does or blah 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 blah, they're no longer allowed human rights. And it frustrates me. Like he said something about why should we have to compromise to and I'm paraphrasing. Why should we have to compromise to basically create rights for gay people, even though those rights aren't going to make their lives better or make their suffering worse? And when you said that, I was like, for one, you're saying that trying is not acceptable unless I know it's going to work. Then you don't understand what trying means, for one. And how else are you going to know it works unless you do it? So, and like, what is the risk? What are you risking? Okay, if we accept gay people, what are we risking? We're risking possibly, and his argument was spreading more STDs. No, boo. Because if you got rid of gay people, STDs would still motherfucking be here. Okay?
Ask Granny. She knows all about it.
They would still be here. So none of your arguments made sense because it's just like you're saying that gay people are the cause of straight people getting STDs and AIDS. And I'm like, but straight people get plenty of AIDS without sex. There's some straight people that get it from sharing needles. What are you talking about? Like, and that's the thing, like when he was saying this stuff, I was like, bro, I was really trying, I didn't say this in the comments. But I really wanted to be like, you sound so goddamn dumb because you're so lost on so many. You speak these things as fact, but you clearly don't know what you're talking about, because if you actually knew how AIDS was transmitted, you would know that I think there's 5. Blood, which everybody has, vaginal secretion, breast milk, which only women have,
The saliva.
semen, and
Well,
what's
no,
the other one?
they found you can't get it through saliva. It's not enough.
Oh,
No,
wait,
you
wait,
can't get through saliva.
Your
You can't get
saliva goes in, it goes in your blood or something.
But I think there's one more though, right? Blood, vaginal secretion, semen, and breast milk. Or is that those are the only ones? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So of the 4 fluids which you can transfer HIV, 2 of them are solely female. One of them is solely male, and the other one is both. So when he's like, HIV is being transferred through only gay people, that made me think, oh, you're one of those people who feels like HIV is like a curse on gay people. But if it was a curse on gay people, why is vaginal secretion? Like, let's go with that dumbass ideology that gay people are cursed with HIV. Then it would only affect gay things. And I mean gay men specifically, because that's who he was targeting, right?
Yeah, the only reason why they did that is because that's who it was affected by, because the original name of AIDS was SIDS.
Right.
Back in the early 80s. So unfortunately, even though we've had plenty of studies that show that that's not the case, people still hold hard to that. I mean, it's sad because there was a young little boy, I cannot remember the name for the life of me right now, that he contracted AIDS through blood transfusions, because back in the 80s they weren't screening blood. And obviously he wasn't having sex with anybody, but he was ostracized by his community. And you know, it hit national news, and he became the new face of AIDS, and that's when money started pouring in for HIV research in the U.S. Because while the rest of the world was trying to figure out how do we squash this issue, majority Ronald Reagan, because he was president at the time, basically refused to give any money to the CDC to research it. Like viruses never mutate, you know, that type of thing.
Because that rhetoric still exists. And Andrew made it very clear tonight. The ideology that AIDS was a creation geared toward wiping out homosexuals and only homosexuals exists. So that way, when AIDS shows up in the straight community, who are you going to blame? It's got to be the bisexuals. When most bisexuals are not comfortable with their bisexuality or being bisexual, meaning I'm a bisexual person who does not even feel, I'm oversharing, who doesn't feel as comfortable being sexual with a woman as with a man.
I think that's kind of more anecdotal evidence, though.
Wait,
I'm not saying it's not. My point is, I'm not saying it's
comfortable?
not. I agree. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of bisexual people who don't exist in this realm of, I'm just fucking anybody I can get my hands on. But that's the narrative they want to tell.
No,
they want to tell the narrative. And that's my point in saying that. It is anecdotal evidence. What I'm saying is, every bisexual person isn't out there just to fuck anything that moves. A lot of us are more selective.
No, that's true.
Wait, what did you say before that? What did you say? You're more comfortable with a man?
I'm more comfortable being sexual with a man than a woman for multiple reasons. At this point, because I'm in my 30s, it is embarrassing to be faced with a situation where I'm with a woman, knowing that a woman probably wants me to be in charge, where I literally don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm like, you're
but
hot.
most straight men don't either, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, but straight men can at least say they've done it. Like, to me, I'm like, you're hot, and I want to do everything you want to do, but I don't know what the fuck you want to do, so I'm just here. Take me.
Can I ask a question without like you getting offended or anything? So, you can try. I'll try. Please don't get offended. Okay? All right. So would you? So, are you more? You're more attracted to men, but like more you can be turned on by a woman as well, or is that how it is? This is like
for curiosity. Me, and let me say this and throw a little shade. I love the fact that this conversation, that we can stay on topic, being the debate tonight, but we can also, like, when it takes a turn, we can take that turn, address that turn, and then come back to the topic. That's called a conversation for anybody out there in the universe.
Petty Betty, make your point.
Petty Betty, make my point.
Good
but
job.
I think for me, it's like this. Okay, I was in the gym today. And in the gym, everybody's fine for the most part, right? But there's this girl that walked past, and when she walked past, I was looking at her, I was like, damn, But I felt bad for thinking about that. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, I felt bad, like, looking at her that way. But I never feel bad when I look at a dude that way. Mm-hmm. Ever. Not for 2 seconds. I feel like as soon as I looked at her like that, I was like, damn, you're a fucking chauvinist, dirty head. You fucking, how dare you look at her like a piece of meat? You're just like the rest of them. When I look at a dude like that, fuck that.
You feel like we're on an equal level like that or something?
I don't even think it's equal. I think it's a multitude of things. And I'm not talking for everyone. I'm not talking for everyone. I'm talking for me.
Right.
For me, I don't have the guilt associated with objectifying a man that I have associated with objectifying a woman, right? And so I think part of being sexually attracted to someone is objectifying them. I'm sorry.
Of course.
I think that's part of it, right? I don't feel that guilt when it comes time to objectify a dude, but when it comes time to objectify men, and it may be because of the history that women have sexually with men, you know what I mean? Like the idea, rape culture, all that stuff, and being the type of person that I am, like, it is hard for me to want to do the stuff that I want to do to a woman without feeling somehow like a jerk. And so for me, I'm more apprehensive. So when it comes to like the idea of, and I have a lot of female friends who tell me, like when I hear my women friends talk about sex, not all of them, but a lot of them, they want to be, they don't mind being submissive, right? Mm-hmm. However, because I'm a man, and I want to use this term, an ally, I feel bad. Like if I was going to be sexually involved with a woman, I would want to let her take the lead. So that way she didn't have to feel like I was, and that's just not generally what women are attracted to.
Okay. All right.
So it creates.
But just because you're dominant doesn't mean that you're abusive. I think there's a line, and I think that's something that you would have to, figure out on your own. Maybe perhaps we should seek out a sex therapist and have them on the show so we could have this conversation. And I'm being serious. I'm being totally serious.
I would love to have a sex therapist on the show.
And because I feel that how regressive our country is when it comes to sex, it causes a lot of other bullshit that happens in our country. Why can't we be open about something that is, if you do it right, very and very fulfilled and enjoyed by many? But going back to the earlier point about which I just lost, so you're gonna have to come back to me again. I got it. Okay.
There you go. There you
So
go.
yeah, when people talk about the binary, whether it's gender and sexual identity, it's not really a binary. It's more of a bell curve. Some people feel more masculine in all areas of their lives or every aspect of their lives. Some people feel feminine in all aspects of their lives. And you have some people that flows in between the two of those, parallels.
Mhm.
And there's been several studies to complement this theory. I know Kinsey did several studies back in the 50s about this. And on top of that, there was a recent study this century with, I believe it was the University of California, Irvine. They did a study where they had did questionnaires for men, basically showing how they affiliate and whether it was heterosexual or homosexual, and also if they felt that homosexuality was wrong. Well, they found that with the ones that felt homosexuality was wrong, they would show them pornographic images, and they also had um, iodes down on their junks, to tell if they are sexually aroused. Well, they found out that the majority of the people that were not in favor of gay people being gay, when they were shown those gay images, they were sexually aroused by those images.
And but that goes back to what Infidel was saying. Those men who, and everyone's heard that, like the straight dudes who protest the most about homosexuality it's a stereotype, but are generally probably.
But see, that's the thing. That's why I brought up the science.
And I'm glad you did, because my point is this. That goes back to his point. If there was no stigma around it, not only would those men be able to accept their possible homosexuality, the reason I say possible is because a lot of them may just be gender bisexual. And I say bisexual loosely, meaning if you really dig into sexuality, there's only, I don't say that. There's like, how can I, when you dig into sexuality, the idea that you're only attracted to one thing is very, it doesn't make any sense, because that's like saying I only want to eat pizza with cheese.
I do like pizza with cheese.
That's being like just straight. Like, I love pizza with cheese, but I won't eat pizza with cheese and mushrooms. I won't eat pepperoni pizza because I only like cheese pizza. That's dumb. Like, because pepperoni is good too. Like, and the thing about
we weren't eating meat. What just happened?
I know, right? But I'm saying, like, my point is to say, like, all this stuff, it's like you can, if you decide you only want to eat pizza, that's fine. But to look at someone else who decides to eat pizza with pepperoni and say that that's wrong, no. You decided to only eat pizza. I want pepperoni and bell peppers, and I want goddamn mushroom, and I want all that stuff. And it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It means that I'm enjoying what I like. It doesn't mean that I'm hurting anybody. It's not about deviance. It's literally about enjoying what you like, what you enjoy. And I think for a lot of people, the biggest retort I hear is, how is it affecting our children? Exposure to homosexuality is affecting your children the same way that exposure to heterosexuality is. Rebuttal. Oh, but homosexuality is not normal. Prove it. Because Mo just listed a bunch of science that said a lot of these motherfuckers who are saying it's not are actually attracted to men. Because I know a lot of people who are attracted to both genders. Somewhat or a little. If you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and can say, oh, I look good today, or I don't look good, then you have an attraction to your own gender, period. It might not be, you might necessarily want to fuck them, but there is a sense within your brain that can tell whether you are attractive. And in order for you to know whether you're attractive, you have to attain the ability to be attracted to yourself, which is your own gender, period.
And I think, all right, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's weird that women, we can be like, oh, I find that woman attractive, and there's no, we're like fine with it. But if a straight guy says, oh, I find that guy attractive, the first thing they usually say is, no homo, but you're really pretty or you're really handsome. It's like, you don't need to say that. You just say you find them attractive.
I mean, for me, I'm like straight as it can get, but I can still find women beautiful. Like I think women are probably more beautiful than men in general. Sorry, men, but I think that's just like a thing. But I wonder. Okay, I have these questions with bisexual. Like, do most bisexuals have a more? Do they lean towards a certain? I mean, is that a thing or
No, because bisexuality, I'm sorry, not even bisexuality. Sexuality is fluid, which means me as a bisexual, I am more attracted to men than women. There are some bisexual men that are more attracted to women than men.
Right.
There are some bisexuals that are only physically attracted to one gender and emotionally attracted to the other, meaning yeah, and it's a spectrum. Meaning, when we say a spectrum, it's saying we want to, Andrew and the likes of Andrew want to live in a world that is black and white.
Oh, absolutely. We've said this to him. He's very black and white. It's hard for him to understand grays. It's very hard for him to understand.
Because for him, and it's fine. Like, I'm not judging the way he lives. I judge the way he judges others. But the way he lives, you want to live in a world because you feel like it's black and white for you, meaning man, woman, job, car, taxes, no tax. That's fine. However, everyone is not like that, meaning because you live in that world does not mean everybody has to fit in that box. And if they don't fit in their box, here's the issue. Here's the real issue. If they don't fit in those boxes, for people like him, it's a problem. It's not just a thing. Okay, y'all don't.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
It's okay. It's not just that they don't agree. It's that, okay, because you don't fit into the boxes that I fit into, you're a problem that must be eradicated. And then that becomes negative. And then it evolves into other things, meaning violence, rape, murder, all that stuff that becomes the issues in society. If you want to claim that STDs and AIDS is the biggest issue facing the gay community, what that tells me is that you've clearly never talked to a gay person, because like we all discussed, the AIDS issue has not, I'm not gonna say it's been addressed, but there's a lot of steps you can take to prevent, or even if you get AIDS, to prevent from spreading these things. There's so much science that backs that up. So it's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue, in my opinion, facing the gay community is violence at the hands of straight people.
Yes.
That's why the whole time tonight, I really wanted somebody to talk about that. I'm like, the biggest issue facing the gay community is not HIV. It is absolutely violence at the hands of heterosexual people. That is the biggest issue that we face. In my opinion.
Not even just violence, discrimination, being fired because, oh, you're one of those. You know?
I can say, yeah, since I've came out, I only came out a few years ago to like openly to like family and stuff. And now I'm very open online. And the amount of times that I've gotten death threats, you know, and just horrible things said to me because I'm openly pansexual.
What is pansexual?
Where you basically fall in love with the person, not their genitalia.
Yep.
So pansexual, some people can look at like, okay, I'm bisexual. I don't want to say that I'm pansexual because I don't want to say that, but I feel like what's most important to me is the individual. However, I've never found myself in love with a person who wasn't either a male or a female. Not saying that it wouldn't happen, but I don't want to claim that, not knowing like where my head lies in that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be unsensitive, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not unsensitive. That's not a word. Insensitive. I don't want to be insensitive to people who are pansexual, so I don't want to say that. But the idea is that basically, like, you are at the point where those things don't matter. It's not about like what physical makeup that you have. It's really about like who you are, how you make me feel, how I feel about you, kind of sort of thing. Which is, and that opens the door for people who are, honestly, it opens the door for people who feel like, you know, there's, I don't even know I want to say this on camera because then it'll be
get it, do it.
Well, there are certain people who feel like in order to be straight, you have to feel X, Y, Z in the way, and it's like the reason we have to make all these categories, let's be clear, is because We have to create a space where people can feel safe. People think we're creating these categories to erase what's normal. That is only fragility. Because what that's saying is, I'm so fragile in my stance as who I am that I cannot allow other people to be who they are because it threatens my existence. AKA, I can't allow other straight people to say they're straight and also date trans people because that threatens my existence as a straight person who does not like trans people. So I have to make up super straight. But the truth is, no, you just be yourself. If you're fucking a bigot, I'm sorry. If you're a transphobic, I'm sorry. If you don't like to date trans people, then you just
Don't date them.
Don't date them. Plain and simple. The idea is that we have to create this. And at some point, people keep talking about, like, the same people talking about this transgender stuff are the same people who would say, wouldn't it be great if we could just not talk about race? Yes, it would. But we can't, because that's not the world we live in. When you're saying let's not talk about race, when you're saying let's not talk about sexuality, when you're saying that kind of stuff, what you're really saying is, I don't want to talk about it.
You know, I was listening to someone, I can't remember his name because I've been ravaging TikTok. But he made an excellent point, is that people conflate equality with iniquity. And the focus should be on equity than equality, because yes, everyone, has the intellect, they have um the advantage of being a human being. However, there are certain human beings that were born into environments where they've had an edge. So there is an extra equity just by being a certain race. And I think if we put it in that particular scope, maybe it would be more palatable to more people. I don't know, but I'm kind of tired of having the same type of talks. So I'm blue in the face, and it seems like people aren't listening.
They are listening. It's just that
they don't care.
I don't think it's that they don't care. I think it's that, and this is just being totally compassionate and empathetic and not being angry, Duryea. I think a lot of them fear. Let's be clear. Like I was telling my dad the other night. I said, "Here's the thing. It's a lot." Like I heard Andrew say this on a debate, that he was worried about Mexicans, not necessarily the Mexicans, people south of the American border, because there's more than Mexicans. He was saying he was concerned about them coming here because the white population was dwindling. Not that they were dwindling, that they were becoming the minority, right? And after a while, white people would be the minority. Here's my response to that. Does that make you afraid? Well, then why? Why? Like, if you want the story you're telling us, we're not oppressed. There's nothing wrong with being a minority in America. We have it good. So then why are you afraid of being a minority in America? You know what I'm saying? The truth is,
I know why.
you know why. So the issue is this. You're holding, it's not cool. And the issue is this. You're afraid that once there's more gay people than straight people.
Well, there's going to be revenge.
But that's not even the case. Like most gay, straight, most people who are oppressed don't even want that revenge shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say everybody don't, because there's a lot of motherfuckers that want to fuck y'all up. Like the people who are in power. I'm saying that's everybody out there. But it's not everybody. Like a lot of people just want to not have you impede their happiness. And it's like this. You're so like scared of what will happen when those people get in power. You're gonna create. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. While people are trying to get their liberation, and you continually stand in their way, once they get that liberation, what do you think their energy is going to be? Because you wouldn't move out the way.
Yeah, well, I think that it also goes into the argument of privilege. Subconsciously they know that if I liberate you, then that takes away some of my privileges, my advantages in life.
Right.
So I mean,
so you think it's a multitude of it's a conjoining of fear and fear of their own. How can I say this?
Losing their own stature in society,
and fear of us retaliating,
and also the fear of there's always been people that try to instill fear in the other,
Oh,
because
yeah.
fear in the other that's how you make money. That's the quickest way to make money outside of owning property. If you have a niche of fearing other people, you're going to make a lot of money. That's why the churches make a huge amount of money, because they instill fear in their congregates. Fear of sin, fear of the other, immoral acts of people. Pretty much anything to, fear of going to hell. So these are just basically fear tactics, and until we stop fearing it as a society, I don't feel that we'll get anywhere.
So I know Destiny has somebody to go at 12:30, so I just want to say this before, and I mean, if you don't feel comfortable answering the question, you do not have to, because I know everybody has different feelings and thoughts. Who do you think won the debate? Let's go around. I want to start with Destiny, and then we'll just go person to person. Who do you think won the debate? Be honest, impartial. Who do you think won the debate?
I didn't watch very much of it, just a few minutes, but I was gonna say the other guy won, not Andrew, because I mean, I could only stomach a few minutes, and I was like, no, I can't do this.
Okay. But okay, let's say why though. Let's not, because I know a lot of us, and I want to be partial. It's impartial.
You want to be impartial.
Right. I want to be
Honestly,
impartial.
because of the way Andrew's treated me. There's no way I'm ever gonna accept anything he says or does. And if he even apologized ever, I would still be like, you can shove it up your ass, because no, sorry.
Wow. But he might like that though.
Right. Yeah. Look, let's not even have that conversation. Let's not even go there.
I apologize. Like I said, I won't yuck your yum, honey. If you love it, I like it, honey. Do you?
Okay, let's go to you, Mo. Who do you think won the debate?
I mean, obviously it was Mouthy Infidel. He actually because he had actual statistics. He had signs behind him. He had a clear argument. It seems like Andrew, what he does is that he just likes to troll and just pushes rhetoric, and he doesn't have anything really backing it. And even with the things that he puts out, those articles are clearly coming from outlets that are biased. So it's just confirming your already biases that you're trying to bring to the argument, which it's like, it's basically like when you're in a court of law. You can't have circumstantial evidence and expect, well, let me take that back, because when it comes to African Americans, they've done it with less. So I'm just going to leave it at Mouthy won due to having actual facts and figures, and Andrew was basically trolling.
Okay. Do you want to answer?
I mean, yeah, I think Mouthy won. I do. I think he did a really good job. I mean, I don't know if I'm comparing it to the way other debates have gone, because I've seen Andrew just crush every liberal that has come in with him. And it's like, he has a lot of views, but he can handle himself. It takes a lot to get in there with him, and he's not an easy person to debate. So,
yeah, because he wanted to choke the shit out of him.
Yeah, like he knows how to use anger to his advantage. I'll be honest. He knows. He's like, I think that's his tactic. Like when he realizes that he's not winning, he will make you mad.
Yeah.
And we'll push the argument where it's like, why are we even talking about this right now? What does this have to do?
He's good at controlling the debate. He's very good at controlling the debate.
Absolutely.
It's a good tactic, but Mouthy didn't let him get away with it, and he did a really, really freaking good job. I wasn't expecting it, because after he's been debating with Destiny, and then he debated with Lewis. I forget what his name is on the thing. But after he's debated, those were two really, really strong debaters. I think, his confidence was up, and he was kind of expecting this guy who doesn't seem like he might be a good debater. I don't think he was expecting that from him, and the guy just really surprised a lot of people. I think
he knew what he was talking about, right?
Yeah, he did a very good job. I was very
and refused to engage in him trolling. Yeah, so that was
Which
the,
I don't know how. Look, kudos for that. Like, to me,
Honey.
you won just off the fact that you didn't do what I would have done. Because every time he says something stupid, say, "What'd you say, bitch?" So I'm sorry. So like, I would have been totally reckless. I would have been like ratchet as hell. People are like, Drury, I thought you did talk it out. Fuck talking. I just want to troll this dude. But I personally, even having said that, if Andrew wins the debate, I will give it to him that he won the debate. I don't feel like he won this debate. I don't feel like he's won his last few debates, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I don't think.
I feel like Destiny fucked his head up.
Oh yeah, Destiny definitely won.
I feel like Destiny got him.
I'm still going over the perspective philosophy. That's what it is. I'm still going over that one a little more nuanced. I'm not sure if it's going to be either a draw or perspective philosophy 1, but that's the only one I'm kind of have to go over because I still feel like I'm judging it from a different perspective because
it's hard
because like of how other people did with him and the fact that these people are I'm not judging it from the same level because I'm judging it like, wow, these guys did really good, so I don't know if I'm giving them more credit or if I'm not, but Destiny definitely won. And this guy, I
think before Destiny, some of the debaters were at the mindset of, because I was even one of these. He's never debated me. He's never had the pleasure, but I was at the mindset of, let me just go on here and talk. Right? Mm-hmm. Andrew came wanting to debate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So when you're not ready for that, you're kind of like, and then halfway through, you're like, damn, I should have came for a debate. These dudes that he's been up against lately, they're debaters.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're real good.
They're debaters. They got tactics, and so when he does his
doesn't work.
Like when he does his little stuff, they see right through it, and they just don't fall for it. Because all tonight, there were so many times where what's his name, Mountie Infidel was just like he would just do this little thing. And then he would say, what's the phrase he said, Mo? Okay, a couple of things. And he would look at his paper. I was like,
okay, sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right. He was like, okay, fine.
Prepared.
Let's say that's a thing. Yo, like that's, so for me, Mountie won because Mountie, not only did he have more evidence, like Mo said, and he had facts, he had statistics, he had sources ready to go. He didn't have to look through a Rolodex. Mm-hmm. This is why I think he won. His tactics were better. Mm-hmm. His tactics were pure honesty. He never once got into the idea of, let me get emotional with this dude. If Andrew made a decent point, he was just like, okay, I can, like with the point he was saying about monogamy. I love that. He was like, I agree with you that we should push for more monogamy, but in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like that that was his tactic, to not deny, like sometimes when people debate, they deny what the other person's saying just because they're saying it. Instead, he agreed when it was a good point. Therefore, it gave him more credibility. Because it made it seem like he was actually listening to what Andrew was saying and not just trying to rebuttal it. And Andrew gave me the opposite. Andrew was just like, and of the two of them, there was only one that was interrupting a lot. So I feel like
a lot of interruptions.
So that's where I stand with it. So the consensus says, at least out of these 4 people, Andrew got his ass handed to him again. But he's going to be back in the comments tomorrow talking shit. So it don't matter. So
hey,
when's the next debate?
I was going to say, hey, beautiful people that are watching our beautiful faces. If you tell us what you think, comment below in the comments. Even after this live, this will still be up.
And then if you, in addition to commenting, make sure you go to the Facebook group, Politically Provoked 4.0, and join the group. We have political discussions all day and night about any and everything. It's a free form, just no hate speech, right? And then, in addition to joining the group, make sure you add the Facebook page, which is by the same name, Politically Provoked. They have debates up and down the week, interviews. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's political provocation. It's really dope. And I hope that we can I really want to make this like a regular thing. Because to me, like, after these debates, I be mad as fuck. And I be wanting to say shit. And I be like, Brittany, let me say something. And she be like, Aaron.
Like, it doesn't matter now. I'm sorry.
So when is the next debate, Brittany?
So we have a debate. Our next debate, he's going to be on his next debate on Friday. And we also have a debate on Sunday. It's going to be between two liberals. It's going to be a real far leftist and a liberal that's going to be debating whether the DNC stole the election for Bernie. So that should be a good one.
Listen, well, and I love the fact that you're doing debates amongst people in the same party because I love that. That's dope. When is that debate?
That one's going to be on Sunday. And then Andrew's next debate, he's going to have a climate change debate on Friday.
Oh, let me tell you what you need to stop doing. Stop embarrassing that man and have him debate about shit he don't know about. Okay.
Well, he'll debate about literally anything. I mean, he will.
That's hurting his cause. He doesn't realize that's what it comes off as. It's like, oh, you just want to fight. You don't even know what you be talking about with these
people. Okay, but that next debate about Bernie is going to be stellar.
And this guy is like super leftist. Like, I mean, I knew he was a leftist guy. He's had that free Assange hashtag. So, those are like the freaking leftists.
You know who else was good? Yes. So Dominic last night.
Oh yeah,
was it last night?
Great. Well, you know what we're having? Yeah, what we're going to be having also our next panel. It's going to be because a term that we have been hearing come up quite often now, and it's new to me. I don't know how new it is to you guys, but it's libertarian socialist. That's a new term, and I think that comes from the Bosch community. That comes from the Bosch community for sure. And so we're going to bring on
how does that even work?
So we're going to be bringing on 3 libertarian socialists to have a panel and kind of explain to us what that is, because they are kind of contradictory, beliefs. So that's going to be our next one. I think Perspective Philosophy, he is a libertarian socialist. Dominic, he's also a libertarian socialist. I'm hoping he'll come on. And there's another one, the guy that's going to be debating Andrew next. I think he plans on coming out. So I got to work with all these different time zones to get it figured out, but that's going to be our next panel. So
So big things on Politically Provoked. Politically Provoked. If you type that in the groups, you'll find it on Facebook and on YouTube. It's totally fun as though if you can stomach dealing with people who absolutely disagree with you on everything political. There'll be some support, but it'll be both sides of it. So definitely go in there, do that. This is fun. I really want to make this a regular thing. I don't know if I can do it for every debate, but I definitely like doing this reaction because, I needed to know how other people felt about the shit I just saw.
Well, sir, you're the boss. So
I'm not the boss.
You are the boss. So I mean, you could just come on and do this.
I can, but I need y'all to do it with me. It's not fun if it's just me talking shit.
Fine.
It's just,
well, you know what? I challenge the people at large that are still watching this, and whenever they watch it, make sure you check out our Facebook fan page at Will Nelly Media. Make sure you also check us out on other social media at Media Woe on Twitter.
Media Woe is on Twitter. Everywhere else is Woe Nelly Media. Woe with a WOE.
Right. So definitely make sure you check us out. And also, since I wasn't able to put up my Cash App.
God, let me find it.
Whatever donations you might have, make sure you check me out at $ Mo Smith Pro. That is $ MoeSmith. P as in Paul, RO. Okay.
And also tomorrow night, Sip and Kiki is premiering.
Yes, it is.
Which is Pop Culture Digest reality shows. We're talking about Derek Jackson. We're going to talk about everything reality show, new music, all that stuff. So come hang out with us for the premiere.
Absolutely.
Thank you also to Brittany.
Politics all the time.
Thank you also for Brittany, not only for being here, but allowing us, to talk about Politically Provoked and to, have that connection. We're kind of like, we're doing this. I don't want to say it's a coalition, but all of us are sharing, we're all being on each other's shows.
We're building each other's platforms is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I really appreciate that. It's really dope. It's really fun. And I have a great time. I'm telling you, my mom would be like, why are you so mad? I'd be like, because I just watched this debate.
By the way, I definitely want to thank you again for allowing me to be on your panel with sexual harassment. Yeah, that was an experience. So
I think it's important for us to keep having these conversations. Some of them are harder than others. Hopefully, people out there can learn from these situations. The thing about this, though, and the biggest takeaway from tonight's panel is this. It is important to stop seeing people who have ideologies what you would consider a lifestyles, orientations, all this stuff as somehow undeserving of rights and protections.
Say that.
That's just like how like it's a right, it's a protection. Like I want to sit in my house and do the same shit you do in your house, which is fuck who I want to fuck and eat what I want to eat without interference from, you know, the government. There's a lot of people who don't get that privilege because they're gay or trans. So, all right. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Any last words? Otherwise, I'm going to play this little outro and then...
Gonna play the outro. Bye, y'all.
Deuces!